The war began without warning, when the sky above distant colonies burned and news screens on Earth filled with fear, because a powerful alien force called the Car Dominion had entered human space and declared that Earth would be harvested. And this message spread panic across cities, stations, and ships, as humans watched their defenses fail again and again, since their weapons were small compared to the ancient strength of the enemy. And every battle ended with human ships broken and drifting while alien fleets moved forward without mercy. And while generals argued and soldiers died, far from Earth and far from any idea of heroism, a simple mechanic named Eli Carter floated alone in an old transport ship near a dead star system, tired, broke, and angry at the universe, because he had spent his last savings to buy what was listed as an abandoned alien garage, a place others said was useless junk, but Eli believed that even broken things had value if someone understood them. And when he finally reached the location, he saw a massive structure locked to an asteroid, silent and dark, its surface covered in old alien marks and damage from time itself. And he felt doubt for the first time, wondering if he had made the worst mistake of his life. Yet he docked anyway, forced open the main door with effort and frustration, and stepped inside with only his suit light cutting through the darkness, expecting twisted metal and empty halls. But instead he found clean floors, perfect walls, and a deep silence that felt heavy, like the place was waiting. And as his boots touched the ground, hidden lights slowly came alive, revealing something so impossible that his mind refused to accept it at first. Because before him stood rows and rows of ships, not broken, not dead, but perfect, smooth, powerful, and untouched by time, stretching farther than his light could reach, massive cruisers resting beside sharp, deadly fighters, all built with alien designs far beyond human science. And Eli stood there shaking, his breath loud in his helmet, realizing he was looking at a fleet, not scrap, not a garage, but an armory frozen in time. And before he could even speak, a calm voice echoed through the space, introducing itself as Sentinel Corps, the guardian of the Aegis fleet, explaining that the ships had been placed here long ago, waiting for a worthy hand to wake them. And when Eli asked what all of this was worth, half joking and half afraid, the answer stunned him, because the value was greater than 2 trillion credits, a fortune beyond imagination. Yet before joy could take hold, danger arrived, as space outside the garage twisted and a car scout ship dropped out of warp, drawn by hidden signals or pure bad luck. And the moment alien soldiers tried to board the station, ancient defenses activated, slicing the invaders apart with ease, showing Eli that these ships were not only valuable but deadly. And in that moment, while alarms faded and silence returned, Eli understood that fate had placed him at the center of something far bigger than himself, because while Earth was losing a war it could not win, a forgotten human mechanic had just discovered the one thing that could change everything. And as he stood alone among the sleeping giants of the Aegis fleet, fear and responsibility mixed in his chest, knowing that the galaxy would never be the same once these doors had been opened. After the initial shock of discovering the Aegis fleet passed, Eli realized that finding the ships was only the beginning, because the Car Dominion was still a looming threat, relentless and vast. And humanity was already losing ground across the galaxy, with their fleets shattered and planets burning. And Earth's leaders, skeptical at first, could hardly believe that a single mechanic had found thousands of alien warships hidden in a forgotten garage. But the proof was undeniable when Eli took one of the ships into orbit, demonstrating its power by absorbing multiple car plasma blasts and destroying a battlecruiser with a single shot. And suddenly the impossible became real. Humans could fight back, and maybe even win, if they learned to harness this ancient technology. And so Earth Command began a frantic effort to adapt, gathering human pilots, engineers, and mechanics to understand the ships, their alien systems, and their weapons. And despite the language barrier and unfamiliar controls, humans approached the task with ingenuity, modifying alien technology with human systems, mounting familiar guns on alien hulls, and rewiring engines to respond to human intuition, and pilots trained day and night, learning to think like the aliens while keeping the human advantage of creativity and adaptability. While Eli, though inexperienced in combat, was thrown into the front lines because he knew the ships and could teach others quickly, and the first real battle in orbit above Mars was terrifying, with thousands of human and alien ships clashing in a chaos of energy beams, explosions, and fire trails, and for the first time, humans experienced what it meant to fight an enemy far stronger than themselves. Yet the human pilots showed courage, taking risks no alien could understand, ramming damaged ships to destroy enemies, improvising weapons, and finding new ways to survive in the void. And while losses were heavy, every victory sparked hope, and the Car Dominion, used to crushing civilizations without resistance, began to hesitate, because humans fought not only with technology but with unyielding determination. And Eli found himself at the center of it all, leading squad after squad, watching friends die and civilians evacuate, yet refusing to back down, because he knew that surrender would mean the end of Earth. And even when his own ship took heavy damage, alarms blaring and systems failing, he pressed forward, moving through the battlefield with instinct and courage. And the Car warlord in command of the fleet sent a message, mocking humans as weak and insect-like. But Eli smiled through blood and smoke, replying only that insects survive, because human ingenuity, persistence, and adaptability made them a threat the Car could not ignore. And so the battle escalated, with human pilots and alien ships colliding in ways the Car had never faced, creating unexpected strategies that no calculations could predict. And while each attack took a toll, each maneuver, each sacrifice, pushed the humans closer to breaking the alien fleet's confidence, until even the most powerful car ships began to falter, their officers shocked at the unpredictable boldness of human action. And in the chaos, humans realized that their strength was not just in the Aegis fleet, but in their refusal to accept defeat, in their willingness to turn junk into weapons, mistakes into strategy, and fear into courage. And as the battle stretched across Mars orbit and beyond, Eli and his pilots became symbols of resistance, showing that while the Car Dominion may have had superior technology and experience, they had never faced a species willing to fight with every ounce of its heart and every creative spark it could muster. And with each victory, no matter how small, humanity reclaimed ground, forcing the Car to reconsider their plans. Because these humans, ragged and battered, were proving to be something more than what the Car had expected. They were unstoppable when united, resourceful when cornered, and fearless in the face of annihilation. And though every moment was a test of skill, courage, and endurance, humans learned to coordinate like never before, combining their natural creativity with alien precision, developing tactics on the fly, improvising in space where seconds counted. And as the first wave of the Car fleet began to retreat after devastating losses, Earth breathed a tentative sigh of relief. But Eli knew the real test was yet to come, because the Car would not stop. And the final confrontation would demand the ultimate sacrifice, yet humanity's spirit had been awakened, showing that even against overwhelming odds, their ingenuity, teamwork, and relentless determination could turn the tide. And that the Aegis fleet, once silent and dormant, was now alive in human hands, a symbol of hope, courage, and the unbreakable will of a species that refused to bow. proving that the true power of humanity was not only in the ships they now commanded, but in the hearts of the people who refused to give up. And every pilot, every mechanic, every citizen had a role to play in the unfolding struggle. Because survival was not enough, humans wanted victory, and through daring attacks, clever maneuvers, and fearless leadership, they began to show the galaxy that human courage and ingenuity could stand against any alien empire, no matter how vast. And the memory of every loss, every sacrifice, every moment of fear and triumph forged a unity and strength that no technology alone could provide. And as the battle raged, Eli realized that humans were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting to prove themselves as equals among the stars, a species that could take ancient, alien power and turn it into something uniquely theirs, something unstoppable. And while the car still controlled much of the galaxy, their confidence was shaken. Their soldiers demoralized by humans who used brains and courage in ways no calculations could predict. And Eli, battered and exhausted, looked at the stars beyond Mars, knowing that the war was far from over, but also knowing that for the first time in history, humanity had become a force capable of changing the outcome of a war, not by brute strength alone, but by ingenuity, teamwork, and the refusal to accept defeat. And in that moment, despite the fire, the loss, and the fear, humanity had begun to write its own legend among the stars, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could fight, adapt, and survive, and that the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The final battle arrived faster than anyone had expected, with the Car Dominion throwing everything they had at Earth in a desperate attempt to crush humanity once and for all. And the humans, though battered and weary from previous battles, had learned to fight with the Aegis fleet as one. Their courage and creativity tested to the limit as the largest car ship ever built. The Worldbreaker appeared above the planet, a monstrous vessel bigger than any city, its cannon glowing with destructive energy aimed directly at Earth. And alarms screamed across every human outpost as leaders and pilots realized that no conventional weapon could stop it, leaving humanity on the brink of annihilation. While Eli Carter, though still a mechanic at heart, understood instantly what needed to be done, because the only way to prevent the blast from destroying the planet was to overload the Aegis fleet's core through direct intervention, knowing that doing so would almost certainly mean his death. And yet he did not hesitate, recalling the faces of people he had never met, children playing under the sun on Earth, and families counting on him. And as he climbed into the cockpit of the largest ship he could pilot, Sentinel Core spoke calmly, explaining that the overload was possible, but that it would require the pilot to merge with the core, knowing that survival was impossible. And Eli, breathing through the tension, made his choice without a word, accepting that sacrifice was the only way to save billions of lives. While Earth Command sent frantic warnings over the comms, pilots screamed at him to pull back, engineers begged him to reconsider, and friends called out, but Eli's mind was clear, focused entirely on the task. And as his ship flew straight toward the heart of the Worldbreaker, the car fleet realized too late what was happening. Their warlord, watching in disbelief as a human ship, smaller and seemingly insignificant, approached the massive weapon without fear, and in that instant, the odds shifted not because of technology alone, but because of human will. Because the car had never faced a species willing to risk everything without hesitation. And when the ship entered the core chamber, energy flares erupted in brilliant colors as the systems overloaded, and the explosion consumed Eli's ship and the Worldbreaker itself, shaking the solar system with a force felt across millions of kilometers. And when the light faded, the remaining car fleet, stunned and leaderless, began to retreat. their confidence shattered by a species that had shown courage and ingenuity beyond calculation. And humanity, though mourning the loss of Eli and countless others, realized that they had survived the impossible, that their spirit and unity had turned the tide against a far stronger enemy, and as ships returned to Earth orbit, battered but victorious, people wept, hugged, and saluted, knowing that the planet had been saved by both bravery and sacrifice, while Sentinel Corps, the guardian of the Aegis Fleet, BROADCAST across all human networks, proclaiming that humanity had demonstrated resilience and determination that no alien technology or strategy could predict. And in the days that followed, Earth rebuilt and honored the fallen, erecting statues of Eli and the countless pilots, engineers and civilians who had given their lives, and children learned the story not only as a tale of war, but as a lesson in courage, sacrifice, and human potential. And across the galaxy, other alien civilizations, watching the events unfold, whispered among themselves in fear and respect, knowing that humans, a species once considered primitive and weak, had become a force that could not be underestimated, a people who could take abandoned ships, ancient weapons, and desperation and turn them into legends, proving that ingenuity, willpower, and the refusal to bow in the face of death could triumph over even the most powerful empires. And as humanity looked to the stars, rebuilding fleets, cities, and alliances, they carried with them the memory of the mechanic who bought an abandoned garage and, without training or expectation, became a hero whose actions saved a world, inspiring a generation to believe that no matter how impossible the challenge, humans could adapt, fight, and overcome, and that their greatest strength was not technology or numbers alone, but their creativity, courage, and unbreakable spirit. And though the losses weighed heavily, the victory left a lasting mark. The galaxy now knew that humanity would not bow, would not surrender, and that even in the face of annihilation, they could rise, adapt, and transform sacrifice into triumph, ensuring that the story of Eli Carter and the Aegis Fleet would be told for generations, a testament to the power of human ingenuity, bravery, and the unshakable belief that no matter the odds, humanity could fight, survive, and emerge victorious. And through this ultimate act of courage, Earth and its people not only won a war but earned a place among the stars, a reminder to themselves and to the universe that humans, even at their smallest and weakest moments, could become legends, and that the price of victory, though great, was worth the survival of their species, the protection of their world, and the proof that human resilience, determination, and heart could challenge, overcome, and outshine even the mightiest alien empires, leaving a legacy that would inspire every child, every pilot, and every mechanic to believe that even the smallest person could change the course of history, and that the spirit of humanity was a force no weapon could ever destroy.